What should we do?
How
This
many
part
years?
of it? Yeah, what should we do? It's like out of control.
So you think from next.
Okay, calling the meeting to order. For the record, calling to meeting at 6:04. Starting with the first thing on the agenda, we're going to look at emergency responder monthly reports, Honolulu Fire Department. Do you have like anyone online from HFD? Well, members, we do have the fire report. I think I have that printed out. Give me one. Yeah. Honolulu Fire Department statistics provided below represent confirmed number of incidents in the neighborhood board's geographical area for the previous month. So for fires, there was 1 structure, 0 wildland and brush, 2 nuisance, 0 cooking, and 2 activated alarms with no fire. There were 50 medical emergencies, 1 motor vehicle collision with pedestrian, 1 motor vehicle crash collision, 0 mountain rescues, 0 ocean rescues, 0 hazardous materials incidents. Fire safety tips and announcements. Fire safety tip is back to school fire safety, educating students on what they can do to stay safe during the school year. Don't overload outlets. Keep lamps, light fixtures, and light bulbs away from anything that can burn. Never use an extension cord with large appliances like a refrigerator. Cook only where it is allowed. Keep the cooking area clean and free of anything that can burn. If a fire starts in a microwave, keep the door closed and unplug the unit. If a disaster happens, knowing who to call and where to meet is an important part of an emergency and planning for you and your family. Pick 1 main contact locally and 1 contact out of town who may be easier to reach during a disaster. Any questions? Any concerns?
I do. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Uncle John.
Ian and I have been communicating with a woman in Kahalu'u about chronic burning that's going on. And just, that I don't see her here this evening, but it is an ongoing concern. The other thing too is I'm a little concerned. I guess the fire department hasn't been here at meetings too much. Is that a casualty of us meeting at 6 p.m.?
Oh, no, they were here last time.
Were they? Okay.
Yeah, they were here in person last time.
So we get their reports, but there are a lot of fires going on. A lot of fires up Waikane, a lot of fires that are pretty dangerous. And I think it would be good, rather than just getting the monthly report, I think it'd be good if we could maybe invite one of the captains, Clay Madrano or somebody like that, to come and talk to us about these fires that they're responding to and get a really full report about how many times they're being called to places like Waikane where there is chronic burning, to places like Hakepu'u, and so on. Monthly reports are great. I'd rather get the full report and spend a lot more time on it, and make that a major item of our meeting in the future. Thanks.
Okay, sounds good. We'll try and get that over to HFD. Any other comments or concerns?
Can I just add to that? Oh, after Rick.
Oh, no, yeah. Actually, Ian, go ahead. You can go ahead and stem off of what Uncle John was saying.
Oh, just that in this particular instance, Wahine is talking about it's for a cooking kind of thing for some sort of commercial activity. So that's why she's concerned and gets smoked out of her house. So she's asking if it's the right area for that, and has been requested that they stop for quite several times. So we'll follow up with her, find out where she's at with that, and communicate with you so that you are aware of the details of the situation.
Sounds good. Thanks, you guys. Back to Uncle Rick.
I just wanted to make sure that at some point we have it on the record. I don't know if it came out in that your report. You had a hard time hearing with this sound, but wanted to make sure we know about what was the root cause of this fire right next door, because it really stood to compromise this building. And for 5 fire engines to come fight a fire, That's got to be something which we all know about, but I'd like it to be on the record. Number two is that same kind of an incident, Leo Souza property on Ahuimano Road, which is at the intersection where the sewage pump station is. It's the corner of Ahuimano and then Ahuimano coming back. And then also I'd like to know what started the fire at the back of Waihe'i Valley that burned all the uluhe fern, because anytime we lose that uluhe fern, we lost a way for water to get back in the ground. Mahalo.
Parker can add a little
Yep.
bit.
Back to Uncle John.
We've been talking more and more of us about what's going on in the back part of Kahalu'u Regional Park, which has been left pretty much unmanaged for way too long. And that's another site where, I'm driving along the highway and I see smoke trailing up. People are back there, living back there. There are fires happening there fairly frequently. And that's a real issue. That's a very big concern because it's parked and it's surrounded by houses on the Mauka side and so on, prevailing winds coming in. So another one to add to that.
I don't think you guys would get that over to HFD. And thanks for the concerns over those fires. I know that's all kind of, really close to, especially over here where we meet over at Key Project. So we'll get those addressed. Moving over to HPD. Hey, officer, how are you guys?
Good evening. I'm Lieutenant Yu. Tonight we have Sergeant Noguchi also with us. He's the sergeant for the Kahalu'u area tonight. I present the stats to you for July. In July, we had 1 motor vehicle theft compared to 2 the previous month. We had 3 burglaries compared to 1 the previous month. 1 theft compared to 3 the previous month. 4 motor vehicle break-ins compared to 1 the previous month, and 0 robberies. I'll be willing to answer any questions at this time.
Any questions or concerns? Go Dan.
I want to thank you for all your good work. I spent some time at the park walking, and I often run in, at least in the past, there were many police who would take time and just physically be present. I know that you don't have enough people. I wonder if it would be possible to just park an empty police car there to make people think that the police are watching, because we have kids on motorbikes and we have folks changing the oil in their cars, and we now have some homeless people around the park. And just being able to see you, I understand you don't have many policemen now, but would it be possible to park an empty car so that people might think that there are police watching us and helping us out?
Which park is that, sir?
The Kahalu'u
Waihe'i.
Regional Park
Kahalu'u?
at the corner of Waihe'i Road and Kamehameha Highway.
Unfortunately, as short as we are as officers, we are also short with blue and white marked police cars. They suffer accidents, breakdowns, regular service, so we do not have a car to leave there. And there's also the potential of the car to get damaged, either accidentally or willingly. So it's not something that we can do, unfortunately.
Uncle John.
This past Saturday, there was a pretty bad accident in Waiahole. I live in Waiahole Valley, and I came out fairly early in the morning, and there was a truck that had gone up the side of the bank there, Kaneohe bound.
Is that one
Just
blue, right?
Kaneohe side of Homestead Road, and it was a pretty horrendous looking accident. I hope that nobody got hurt. I'm not really quite sure what happened with that, but I'd like to know more detail about that. Was that the result of intoxication? Was it the result of speeding? Because people are flying from Ko'olauloa direction through Waiahole. It's very dangerous. Ingress and egress at Waiahole Valley Road is especially bad. And, there's already enough traffic and enough activity going on with the Waiahole Poi Factory, but it's really dangerous, and people are going way too fast. I've spoken to Ed Sniffen about that, and I am in total agreement with Ed. If people aren't going to slow him down, he's going to slow him down. There's probably going to be a speed table there soon on the Kahuku side of Waiahole Valley Road. But More details about that particular accident would be welcome.
From what Sergeant Noguchi told me, the driver had fallen asleep. Driver sustained a broken arm, but no serious injuries other than that.
Okay, thanks. Do you have an idea of what speed he was going when he hit that pole?
No, we don't.
Yeah. Anyway, the speeding is a really dangerous issue. Right before you get to Homestead Road, there is the electronic sign that tells you how fast you're going. Not going to help you if you're sleeping. But I don't know that that sign is always working. I feel like that sign would probably be, or something like it, would be better placed Kahuku side of Waihole Kamehameha Highway intersection, so that people who are rounding the corner where visibility is very difficult, it would probably help them. I mean, to let them know how fast they're going and to let them know why the speed table is going to happen.
Yeah, that's a Department of Transportation sign. If you want to have them consider a sign on the other side of the road, that's something that they would have to look
Okay,
into.
we'll take that
Yeah.
up with them. But yeah,
Mhm.
okay, thanks.
Thanks, John. I had one more question, officer. Actually, Keone, you had your hand raised online.
Yeah. I had a question about the Haiti of Bull Harbor and like it's like the weekends and stuff. So we've been bringing this up with the at the board meetings ever since I joined the Kahalu'u neighborhood board, and my question has to do with the weekend warriors who go out to the sandbar and stuff like that, and they park their cars on the side of the road and their trailers and stuff. I mean, it's already bad enough that like we have that tall grass that causes them to park closer to the road than off the road. But I was wondering if there's anything you as a Honolulu Police Department could do in terms of like handing out citations to people who park over the white line in the actual lane of traffic. Because I do in my profession, I do a lot of work in Lanikai, and they do have the police officers. They'll come through, and if somebody's just parked like on the white line or yellow line, whatever color line it is there, they'll stop and they'll cite those cars. And I think that that may help curb people's rush to just park their car any kind and then go and run and do that. And that would also help potentially alleviate any possible collisions or anything, because like I'm constantly driving through there and I know I'm not the only one in the community or on the board that drives through there and sees that same problem. So I was just throwing it out there that like, is there any possible way that, you know, if you guys are rolling through, or like especially on the weekends, like you see anybody park there, just like ticket them so that they know better and they can start spreading the words amongst themselves, like, hey, you should park better because I got ticketed 2 weekends ago. And then it'll start becoming like a word of mouth thing, because I mean, like, it hasn't necessarily gotten better, and in some cases it's gotten worse, where like people are like legit parked on the road, and like, and then they're standing there in the middle of the road like it's our fault that we're driving in our lane of traffic and we're
Okay.
getting in their way.
Okay, Keone.
But
Thanks for
that's
the
all.
question. Officer?
Yeah, we can step up enforcement. Is there any particular time you're noticing this?
It's usually on the weekends or like holidays. It's just any time that everybody is off, and like you can see it when you're driving by. I mean, it's mostly on the weekends though. Like
Okay.
all summer long, it's usually on the weekends, and then or like all summer long, it actually happens throughout the week. But just throughout the year, it's mostly on the weekends, Saturdays, Sundays. Like it gets kind of crazy over there.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Keone.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, officer. Auntie Christie?
Hi, this is a question from the community, Christy Kaluhiva. In addition to what Keone was saying, the bus also has to navigate through those cars and has to cross over into the other lane. And this happens right in front of the entrance into the pier, which that also can be a hindrance with the number of boats and trailers that are also entering into that area, that it can create a major traffic issue. And as Keone said, yes, weekends, we see heavy parking between starting as early as 10 a.m. all the way till maybe 4 or 5 when it starts to clear out. Thank
Okay,
you.
yeah, this is the same area, so that'll get taken care of.
Thanks, officer. I have one more question for you guys. A couple of months ago, you guys had reported that you guys were gonna do some kind of operation to address the dirt bikes that were going up and down Ohuimanu Road. Was there any kind of follow-up on that? And any report back?
I'd have to check the stats. We start at 6 p.m., so that's probably the other watch.
Yeah.
So we can report that back to you at the next meeting.
Appreciate that. Mahalo. Any other questions, concerns from the community, online, in person? Seeing none. Thanks, officer. Appreciate you guys' time.
Good night.
Moving on the agenda, filling of vacancies on the board. We have the election of officers. Would anyone like to nominate somebody for secretary? Vacancy for secretary. Any nominations?
I have a question, Chair.
Yep.
Can we just get clear on what the responsibilities are for the role of secretary?
I believe
Okay, so for secretary, so we help with the minutes, right? And then the secretary, if the board wants to make any amendments, the secretary will help with that by taking the minutes and editing it and send it back to NCO, and then we'll upload it to the website. And another thing would be like, let's say the chair's not here, vice chair not here, treasurer's not here, then they would oversee the meeting afterwards. That's the main two things. Then that's about it.
What do I think? So it's critical to have a secretary because the neighborhood assistant leaves at 10, and sometimes meetings go on. And once the neighborhood assistant leaves, there's no secretary, there's no minutes. So that's critical. That's the first thing that has to happen. The minutes are the actual transcript of what business we did. So the comments that we make that are read by the department heads, deputy department heads, depend upon somebody to write them down. So if there's no secretary, then there's no feedback from the neighborhood board to the city, and the lines of communications are gone, basically, and we have no reason to be. So it's critical to have a secretary, not just to write letters and answer notes, but to make sure that the minutes reflect business and important information. Otherwise, you wind up with a neighborhood board meeting where there aren't any representatives from any of the departments who even cares about what we're doing. So having a secretary really puts us on the map. Certified letters, regular letters, all kinds of things. It really takes somebody who's dedicated to, getting the word out. Just here's what's going on. These are the problems. Let me take care of it.
thanks about that. Jesse?
Calamari Rachel, could you just clarify that? So the secretary only needs to deal with the minutes if amendments need to be made. Otherwise, NCO will produce the minutes per the recording, correct?
Yeah. So the NA, okay, so NA makes the minutes, and then after the minutes are made, I send it to the secretary, if there's a secretary. Let's say chair or secretary wants to add something, they can go ahead and just put it in. But if the board votes that they want something to be amended, then the secretary will fix that.
So I was going to suggest right before my neighbor here refused that the secretary treasurer be one position. And then they also have to notice that Daniel was looking at Hiya the whole time he was talking. So I just leave it at that.
Thanks, Uncle John. So, again, going back, any nominations for secretary? Anyone online? Okay, seeing none, we'll roll it over till next month's meeting. We do have 2 vacancies. for sub-district 6. Any interested applicants or members online? Seeing none in person. Okay. I did want to potentially get your guys' take on how you guys would feel about at-large seats. At-large seats. Yeah. Any comments?
Yes, I have a comment. So I had suggested that previously, and it got being rejected. Concerns maybe from board members about who might apply for that seat. That said, this has been vacancy going for a very, very long time. And how much longer is in our term? I think we're like
June next year, I think.
next year. Should we be so afraid if we might jump into a landlord seat?
Well, I just want to,
No. There are people, because there are people who are willing to serve on a large basis.
Yep.
And I think it might be worth a shot. Go for it, Jesse.
Jesse.
I think other than being concerned for certain people joining and maneuvering their way around and derailing our meetings, we also are going to run into a situation where District 6, I realize that nobody is representing Sub-District 6 right now, but then there will be people speaking on behalf of Sub-District 6. And I don't think that that is right any which way we look at it. I think the better scenario than Sub-District 6 falls in the across the street of Ho'iora, from Times Supermarket would for us to be to put some kind of flyer out to encourage community members that live in that space to come forward because maybe they're unaware that neighborhood board even exists.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea for us to not just advertise that at the neighborhood board meeting, but to get out farther. But that said, while we do represent sub-districts, we also represent the entire community. That's just the way it is when you get elected to the neighborhood board or any body. But yeah, I would agree with that.
Question, can we get clarity on what the proper process would be to put out flyers for vacancies in sub-district 6 and also clarity on the process if we were to pursue at-large seats?
Okay, so to, I guess, proceed with the at-large, it will definitely have to be under board business. So then, the board can vote on that. And for flyer, I think you can put it underneath board business too. And then someone would create that. And then if the board approves it, we can bring it to NCO just to make sure it is approved too. So get just stuck with that.
Okay, for the at-large, let's say it becomes board business or decides to move forward with that option. What then? How does it proceed from there?
Okay, so once that's approved from the board, the chair can email Lloyd or their secretary, and he'll bring it up to the neighborhood commission office, their meeting, and then they're gonna vote for that. I know you were saying like how long is the term too? So let's say you just wanted the at-large to be temporary. So you can just say our board votes to have that at-large seats just for the remaining of the term. In case you do decide you want to revert back to the sub-district 6 only.
Okay, and let's say we have two candidates that come forward. It would be at the discretion of the board if they were allowed to join, or how does that work?
So it's kind of similar how we do with the election of officers. The has to be the 2/3 vote for that person that got nominated.
So somebody from the board would have to nominate somebody for that at-large seat. Okay.
Yeah. So like, let's say I'm part of the community, right? I say I want to be part of the board. So one of the board members needs to nominate me, and I need at least 2/3 of a vote to be actually on there.
Parker, going back to the idea of getting the word out, in sub-district 6, right, we're talking about, there are community homeowners associations. Pretty much the entirety of that neighborhood. So I think it might be worthwhile at least reaching out through those homeowner associations. That would be one option. The other thing is, can we, as a neighborhood board, send to every resident in that sub-district, like you would, like with a voter registration list or something like that? Is that, so just, those are questions you don't have to answer them, but maybe we can explore that.
Thanks, Uncle John, and thanks, Rachel, for the clarity. Yeah, I just wanted to get you guys thoughts on that. Uncle Cliff, yeah.
Okay, so to come on a board, you gotta be a voting citizen in a community, right? A voting, you are, right? You gotta be able to vote.
Yes, you have to be registered to vote for the neighborhood boards. Yes.
No. It's election time, you vote for your constituents.
No. So in order
You
to
don't
be
have to
on,
be,
you don't have to be registered to vote for like primary and general elections. You just have to be registered to vote for neighborhood board elections. It's different. It's a different kind of,
no, because I had a friend wanted to come on, but he said, I don't vote. What?
yeah, different vote. As long as he votes for neighborhood board, he can come on the board. Okay. Question from Donald online. Donald, you had your hand raised. There we are.
Hello, Chair. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
Yeah, good topic to talk about how to get the word out for board openings. So, all the neighbor boards should do this. Community concerns in the midweek, and people read that, and they can get the different neighbor boards vacancies and where to contact. Would that be a possibility with the neighbor board commission to do that?
I'm not sure. I think that would have to be something that would be, afforded in some sort of memo on behalf of our board to the commission. Requesting that something like that be funded through the commission itself rather than out of our neighborhood board budget, right? So,
Yeah,
we can-
never got
that can be
midweeks,
explored.
every week.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Uncle. Okay. Moving on to city, state, federal reports. We do have a rep online from Mayor Rick Blangiardi's office. Did you have a name?
Aloha.
Hi, Regina.
Hi. Me. I apologize in advance if for some reason I cut out Rachel. So you may have to take over. But my name is Regina Malipeai. I am the mayor's rep and will be with the Kahalu'u neighborhood board going forward. So I look forward to meeting all of you. Hopefully I can get out there. I am the second deputy director of DPP. So I just started in this expanded role in mid-June. So I'm still kind of learning the ropes and things like that, but I look forward to working with all of you. Okay, so I'm just gonna drop the mayor's newsletter in the chat for you guys. Let's see. You can spend more time reading that. And then I'm just gonna go through the departmental issues follow-up that we have for our mayor's report. Item number 1 was for DTS. It was Hokuloa crosswalk speed bumps request, and I think the question was, is Hokuloa a private street? And the answer from DTS was that, or is that Hokuloa is a private street. Second question was also for DTS in regards to Ahui Manu Place. I'm going to try and summarize, but their response is that the city and county of Honolulu has roughly 900 miles of missing walkways along our local roadways, and building them is neither simple nor cheap. The Oahu pedestrian plan prioritizes these missing walkways based on factors such as bus routes, proximity to schools, and crash history. The Oahu pedestrian plan does not prioritize the missing walkway on Ahui Manu Place. So as such, the desired improvements are not eligible for standalone walkway improvements. Ahui Manu Place is, however, identified as part of the pedestrian priority network. And so the city can explore the feasibility of walkway improvements as part of the street's next roadway repaving and rehabilitation project. The third issue is for GPP in regards to Kahalu'u Fish Pond Luau. And I'm not sure if you all are going to be discussing this later in your agenda. But the only response we have right now is if we could get more specific information in terms of what the actual request is, as well as the address and the TMK, we'd be happy to provide more information. If we had that information, we could research that, but we definitely need an address or a TMK, and I'd be happy to look into that further for you guys. And last was an issue for HPD, and it was in regards to the traffic concerns around Kahalu'u 7-Eleven. Their response was that from July 20th to August 2nd, District 4 officers checked the areas near and across the Kahalu'u 7-Eleven for vendors. One vendor was given a warning, and there were no other vendors in the area, but the officers will do follow-up checkups or follow-up checks when they are not responding to calls for service. So that's all I have. Thank you guys in advance for your patience with me. This is like my first neighborhood board, but I do hope to continue working with all of you. So if you have any questions.
Question from Uncle Rick.
Welcome and thank you so much for taking the time to help us out. We really enjoyed working with Jiro, and he really helped us out, and so we're hoping to engage in the same alliance with you. And you know, I know you're just early on in this, but I'm a contractor, and there's a woeful frustration about how long it takes to get permits, even for a demolition permit. I mean, where it used to take three weeks, it now takes better than a year. I'm kind of one of those that looks for solutions, and so I'm wondering, maybe we need to consider altering that the staff in DPP, the plan checkers shepherd 1 or 2 or 3 permits a week just through the whole process, so that there's one person that kind of coordinates and keeps the ball rolling. Because at this point, it's just, it's, you know, my wife continually reminds me, doing the same thing repeatedly, and expecting another result is the definition of insanity. I do understand that you guys are moving towards that automated system, but nonetheless, it's just still taking woefully long. Mahalo.
Yes, Uncle Rick. Uncle
Thank
Cliff.
you.
Yeah. Getting back, it's gonna sound like an old broken record, but anyway, the city gotta clean up their sidewalks. The ones, the Heia Pier, from Heia Pier to Haiku Road. The other day, I seen this guy on a wheelchair coming down. He was past the Long Bridge already. I think he was heading to the pier with a wheelchair. And you know, one guy in a wheelchair cannot maneuver on the sidewalk. I mean, he's on the road going. And this is going on for years already. And I was talking to one of the workers there, the city workers. No, I don't know, that city county yard there is, I think it's only for show. There's nobody working there because everybody shifted to Wamanalo. So I don't know when the city gonna clean that sidewalk. It's all, well, I think somebody used poison the grass, so now it's all dirt. You cannot move on a dirt sidewalk. So just wondering when they're gonna clean it. Thank you.
Thanks, Uncle Cliff. We have Keone online with his hand raised. Go ahead, man.
Hey, how's it going? My concern kind of is touching base on what Uncle Cliff was just talking about, but it goes a little bit further. So the Cali grass, right after the He'ia State Park, on the ocean side of the road, coming up to the entrance of the He'ia Boat Harbor, is constantly just growing out of control. And it creates like one specific issue that I always fear, like because my son, he paddles down there for Kaneohe, and he paddles for the summer regatta season, and he's also going to be paddling Naupio for the school season. And like it creates like a little dangerous blind corner right there. And the coaches there, they have those kids, they got to run up to He'ia State Park, they run the parking lot, and then they run back down to the pier. And when you have all of them running on the road and they're trying to stay away from the Cali grass, but then someone comes around the turn and doesn't see them, or somebody is coming and they do see them, so they merge into the other lane, and then somebody's coming the opposite direction, like it poses like a real hazard. And then on top of that, I also see that it's one of the things that's causing a lot of those trucks with the boat trailers to park closer to the road, because there's no like space for them to go in. And it's like what Uncle Cliff was saying, like you see them come and they mow it all down real fast, and like they push like maybe like 5 feet off from the line from the road, and then you don't see them again for like another 4 to 6 months. And in that period of time, the California grass grows so rapidly that like it becomes higher than, any human that I know that will be traversing that section over there. And I just fear that it could become a much bigger issue if someone or someone's child were to be struck by a vehicle, and then it takes that for anybody to make a solid plan for how to fix that issue. And that ties into the sidewalk as well. But that's
Right on.
all my concern.
Thanks, Keone. Mahalo nui, brother.
Yeah.
Ian, you had your hand raised.
But real quick, aloha, Regina. Would you be willing to share your contact information in the chat so we might be able to communicate with you?
No problem.
Thank you so much. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Ian. Uncle John.
Aloha, Regina. I just want to call your attention to a fairly major project that I think touches on a lot of these things. The pre-assessment consultation for Kamehameha Highway roadway rehabilitation and erosion mitigation and an environmental assessment. I think it would be great for our board, maybe you, at a time when you can attend the board meeting and bring along appropriate staff, for us to take a really good hard look at that particular project. I see it as an opportunity for us to formally address a lot of the issues that have been brought up, how sidewalks in that area are taken care of, even the alignment of Kamehameha Highway along Heiakea. I have felt for years that if we consider realigning Kamehameha Highway, as you come around the corner by the former Wine Electric base yard, you take the highway Mauka and you put it on the other side of the utility lines. And as you get closer to Heiakea Pier, you go even further into Heiakea Valley and then bring it back around to meet up with the existing highway as it goes into the turns in the vicinity of He'ia State Park. By doing that, you can create additional parking for Heiakea Pier. and you would create a shoreline park, the length of Heiakea Valley. That would be a tremendous advantage for the canoe club. Kids would be able to run, along that shoreline and so on. That sounds big, but it's sensible. There's infrastructure money out there, sea level rises involved, and so on. I've spoken with Ed Sniffen about this idea. We've actually drawn this up, 20, 25 years ago. We put this kind of concept out there. But I think it'd be really important. It's a really important time for us to be looking at those kinds of changes. Thank you.
Thanks, Uncle John. Okay, we'll go with Donald online. You had your hand raised, man.
Yeah, sure. Donald Sakamoto, as a blind individual, it's heartbreaking to hear the sidewalks are not accessible. You know, the AD law was passed in July 26, 1990. We just celebrated 34 years. We're going on to 35. So could you relay the message, ma'am, to Director Martin, that we need accessible sidewalks for all persons, component disabled or regular citizens. This is unjust. So please inform him that the AD law does come under this factor. So kudos for what you do at your department, but in the city. But please express my concern to Roger Martin for me. Thank you.
Thanks,
I
Donald.
will do.
We did have Alice in person. Yeah, go ahead. On the mic, please.
Just quick, because, since you have community sitting here, it would be helpful if people would not use initials. I knew DPP, Department of Planning, and something else, I don't know. And so maybe the new person would know not to use initials so much, since we're in the peanut gallery.
Thanks, Alice. Appreciate it.
I got it.
That's a
Will
good reminder.
do.
That's a good reminder for all of us. Always forget that. Any other questions, concerns from members in person, online? Nobody. Yeah.
Just really, might as
Oh,
well
yeah.
answer this
No, yeah.
Department
Go
of
ahead.
Planning permitting. Just so we're familiar with that, right?
Yeah. Department of Planning and Permitting.
Yeah.
City and County.
Thanks, Alex.
Thanks, Deputy. Welcome on board, and we'll see you next month.
Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Aloha.
Aloha.
Moving on to us, Council Member Esther Kia Aina's office. Do we have council member online or a rep?
Hi, good evening, board. No, we do not. She's actually attending the Kailua wastewater virtual town hall this evening. So we just have 2 points this evening to bring up. She wanted to let you folks know that the Federal Bureau of Ocean Energy Management and the state of Hawaii will be holding an intergovernmental renewable energy task force meeting on August 22 from 9:30 to 3 p.m. at the Mish Memorial Auditorium. The meeting will be both virtual and in person. Doors will open at 9 p.m. and I will post the information link on there for you folks. Next thing she wanted to let you know was the Committee on Planning and the Economy will begin to consider proposed amendments regarding agricultural use. And this committee meeting will be Thursday, August 22 at 9 a.m. I will go ahead and add information on that as well. That's all we have for this evening. I can take any questions.
Any questions from members in person? Online? All right, appreciate it. Thanks for coming
Thank
on
you.
today. Appreciate it. Molyneux. Moving on to Council Member Matt Wire's office. Do we have Kelly online? All right. Okay, moving on to Board of Water Supply, Barry Usagawa. Do we have Barry on? I don't think so. We have Gov's rep, Deputy Katie Lambert in person. Good evening.
I'm sharing Governor's message from his newsletter. So of course, the wildfires, we recognized the 1 year anniversary of the event. Our commitment to the people of Maui remains strong as we continue to support them with their recovery for as long as they need. Even though we have made significant progress in the past year, there is still much work to be done. Last month, we successfully concluded the non-congregate sheltering program, which provided short-term housing and assistance to 7,796 individuals and 3,071 households displaced by the Maui wildfires. In addition, critical legislation has been implemented for fire safety and disaster resilience. Let's keep the 102 individuals who tragically lost their lives in the fires close to our hearts and in our thoughts. Together, we will continue to rebuild and recover, ensuring a more resilient future for Lahaina and its residents. I'm grateful for the unwavering support of FEMA, the American Red Cross, our countless partner organizations, and people from the community. Mahalo to everyone who has supported Maui from day one, and we are truly grateful for your steadfast support. I don't have any follow-up items from the last meeting, so I'm happy to take back any questions or concerns to the governor's office.
Uncle Dan.
I understand there's a sewage treatment plant at the end of the Hei'a Pier that's not yet working. Can you give us an update on, I understand it's going to be 2 years before they begin to use it. There are hundreds of people who come to the pier who, go out on the water and then come back and use the comfort station. It's the sewage treatment plant, brand new, good job, but apparently it has a leach field or something's under the parking lot. And whenever the tide goes up, that's all underwater. But maybe you could have someone come out and let us know what's happening with that. Thank you.
Thanks, Uncle Dan. Uncle John.
I wouldn't mind getting your email address so that we can communicate directly.
Oh, sure.
Maybe before you leave this evening, but you heard my comments about the stretch along Kamehameha Highway. So this has come up before with people being for and against the idea of putting that highway back under state. It was formerly under the state. And to my mind, it is very important that it be back under the state for lots of reasons. I think the state probably has more access to the funding that we need to do the kinds of fixes and improvements and changes along that way. The number of state interests that line that highway, 400 acres of Kako'ivi, King Intermediate, State Park, State Pier. When you start lining those all up, the state should really be in control of it. So thanks.
Uncle Rick.
Thank you for coming tonight. My question is on the heels of what happened in Lahaina. It seems like HECO is going, or HECO, MECO, and Hawaii Electric is moving towards doing these. I guess I would call it safety blackouts. I can't think of the name of the acronym, but it's when there's windy conditions, then they're going to shut down the power. But I understand that's a conservative response to or action towards preventing fires. But on the other side of the coin, does Hawaiian Electric plan on beginning a maintenance program to mow the grass and so forth along the pole lines? Because that seems to me that would be a more proactive way of preventing fires rather than preventing people from having electricity. Mahalo.
Thanks, Uncle Rick. Appreciate that. Cliff.
Yeah. Question. Did the city take over the Kahalu'u land yet? Not yet, huh? The one for Hawaiian homes? They're trying to pass out the junk land for Hawaiians. Don't smile because I know they're always doing that. Give the Hawaiian the land that can't even raise weeds. All the lands, even Kapole, those houses out there. I tell them, I said, it's all filled land. Most of the land there is all about 20 feet filled, landfill with trash. They said, nah. I said, you guys want to work behind the desk. You guys don't know nothing. I've been out in the field. And like in Bobber's Point, the Navy passing off the land to the state. Now you tell me how they can pass you the land with a deed. How did they get the deed to Barbers Point? And now all those land, federal land, they shouldn't even touch it because contamination. 99% of the land is contaminated. You know, eh, we got land, federal land, that they couldn't even touch and finish cleaning. We have Waikane. They started, but nothing done. Nothing. They just did done. What it tells me is that's how they take a bath. They wash the face and forget okole. You know, they really have okole. But I was really concentrating on what they're going to do because the homes in like Kapolei don't even pass city county code. You guys work for the city and for the state. I can tell you, the homes there don't pass building code because there's no inspector going out there to inspect.
Okay,
I was watching them.
Thanks, Uncle Cliff. Thanks for the comments. Anybody else? Members online? Community members? Okay, seeing none. Thanks, Katie. Appreciate it. Alrighty. Alrighty. Moving on to Senator Brenton Awa's office. Anyone from the senator's office online?
That's gonna be me, Chair.
I think so, yeah.
It's gonna be me, Chair.
I'm sorry.
It's gonna be me.
Oh, I'm sorry. We have in-person report.
Kahalu'u, Senator there's another meeting, I guess, in Haleiwa today, that he was trying to make it here. But that was for a lifeguard shack. So the biggest update that Senator Awa's office has is that DOT has approved another planting project in Ahoy Manu, and that the office submitted an application to adopt a portion of Kahalu'u Beach Park and looking to work together with DPR and DFM and DOT, as well as the Kiahiakahoe Canoe Club in clearing the how bushes adjacent there and trying to make the beach park into what it used to be. Senator Awa is also aware of the walking path requests and will plan to plant the trees so that there is room for that should funding become available through any avenue in the future. If you have questions, I can send it to the office.
Questions or concerns for Senator?
Yes.
Uncle John.
Biggest question is come to the neighborhood board. It's a statement. Come to the neighborhood board, talk about projects you want to do. Don't announce them to us. Yeah. Walking paths are critical. This community has been working on these areas for a very, very long time. Thanks. Katie, do you have a card?
Mahalo, Uncle John.
Yep.
I believe Senator did come and discuss this project multiple times. Thank you.
In person with people who have been working on this for a long time, not just a neighborhood board meeting.
Okay.
Any other members in person? Okay, Rick.
Just wanted to make a comment. It's really looking nice, the maintenance along the trees, and the trees are doing well. It quite frankly looks way better than a DOT could ever do, cutting the grass or not cutting the grass, as it were. Just was wondering if there was any thought as to how the fruit will be harvested, because it'll be kind of a free-for-all thing if you don't watch, and so you know you're going to end up. I don't know how you implement honesty sort of a situation, but I know that Kanikoa Shoots at Kako'oibi recently got one of these machines that can husk the outside of a ulu, and they're intending on putting either ulu chips or something out. So that might be a nice source for a resource for that operation, and it'd be kind of nice to see. It's really kind of nice to see how all these entities are working together anyway, but that might be kind of a nice way of kind of getting that out. Mahalo.
Thanks for coming.
Correct. I will definitely put that question. I don't think that has come up yet. I will put that question to Senator. Thank you.
Any other members in person? Questions, concerns? Keone online, hand raised.
Yeah. Just touching off of what Uncle Rick was just saying, like maybe like an idea could be that those who were directly involved in orchestrating that project and making it happen could be in some way the responsible party to how that stuff is harvested and distributed to the community. You know, for example, like how they do food drives out of Keep Project or things like that, where it can be monitored, maintained, and distributed by the people who took the time to actually be there and make this what it is. You know, like them having that sense of responsibility for what they worked hard to accomplish, and the say on how it is handled and addressed. It's just an idea.
Appreciate it, Keone. Molyneux. Iggy.
Okay, so I was in Senator's office at the time that the planting project began, and I do recall addressing this during that time, about what is to happen with the fruits that come out of the planting project. So it was meant to be a community resource. I know there's concerns about a quote unquote free for all. There's other ways to look at that, right? It's an open community resource for anybody who should need it. But also having it so freely available also alleviates theft and other such activity to our farmers, our neighbors, because those things do occur in our community. Not to say that that intention can't sort of grow and pivot and sort of we can collaborate or the office can collaborate with Kakoivi or other community organizations. But just kind of wanted to refresh everybody's memory on that. Mahalo.
Appreciate you.
Any other comments, concerns, community members in person? Yeah, Joe.
Aloha. My name is Joe. I wanted to mahalo the senator and everyone else in the legislature for their work in the biosecurity bill that was passed and partially funded this past year. I was wondering if we could get a follow-up on the plan for how, from the DOA on how those funds are going to be expended in order to get rid of little fire ants and CRB. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. All right. Anyone online, community members? Okay, seeing none, moving on. Thank you, Vice Chair. We have Rep Kitagawa's office. Is the rep online? No. Whoa, who's that? Um, 1 second. We'll take a quick recess.
It's, probably. About everything. Yeah. So that's why I try to. Stuff out.
And then have that, yeah.
Right, it's different. Much fewer people, I assume. It's people that you're. Right. You won't see any. I get the sound, yes, I get the sound, but it's not there. And it's not. So the small things that are talking about, I think it's. Here, everybody Saturday, and you can hear the last 15 minutes, chief here. But that's advice. That's how you gotta get there. It was the illustrated. You have a part of the Saturday. All the time. You started again. Yeah. Three times louder. And it's all. If you go down on the peninsula, next to the church, that road is on your left. You take all the freighter towns and all. It's not extended steps. But that's what I'm trying to like. It's loud. It's weird. People get it, you started in every community. Stop. We have unintended coming up. Yeah. No, we're something. Yeah. We have a project on the street. For people that Check it out. If you want, the answer is yes, but yes.
Oh, yeah.
So rather than take it hopefully. It's immaterial, yes. However, I don't have
I think once we get into that,
Oh, that's what we're talking about.
Okay, I'm gonna call the meeting back to order. If we could take our seats, you guys. Okay, calling the meeting back to order. We are on agenda item announcements from Rep. Kitagawa's office. And I did just get an email from the representative. She apologizes for not being able to come. She had something that was short notice that came up. But she did want me to go along and pass over the announcement about her annual Windward Drive through flu shot clinic that her and Rep. Matayoshi put on that is going to be held on Saturday, September 7th from 9 a.m. to noon at Windward Community College. Community members can simply drive up in times pharmacists will provide them with their annual flu shot. They will have kupuna high dose shots available and will be no cost with most insurance companies. There is a cost if an individual does not have insurance, however. If you folks have any questions or concerns, you folks can reach out to her directly through email or phone number. Any questions or concerns from members in person? Online? Community members in person? Online? Okay, seeing none. Okay, moving on to Chancellor Artis. RBC, you're online. Yeah.
Aloha mai kako. Thank you for your time tonight. I wanted to share an initiative that we're doing. Today we got to sign a bill for a mental health tech with Governor Green that was sponsored by Representative Lisa Martin. It provided for staffing for us for the program for this year. And this year, we're taking our mental health tech program and we have a cohort of Honolulu Police Department officers who are taking the course, including Chief Lambert, Mike Lambert is taking it as well, the set of 3 courses, hoping to provide a basic understanding of mental health crises, conflict resolution, and also being trauma informed on the job with the police officers in that cohort. It's the first cohort. We hope to do it again afterwards. And we are also doing another cohort of adult corrections officers. So same thing, basic mental health awareness, psychology, conflict resolution and mediation, and trauma-informed care. So what we're really hoping to do is create a basis of knowledge across those who serve our community members and our ohana in these contexts, which often can be difficult and involve difficult situations. So they have skills, knowledge and tools to deal with these situations should they arise. So that's all I wanted to share today. Enrollment's doing okay. College starts in 2 weeks. We're super excited to have students. I hope lots of your relatives are coming this fall. Mahalo.
Thanks, Chancellor. Any questions or concerns from members in person, online? Okay. Donald? You have a quick question? Oh, there we
Yeah,
are.
Chair, I want to bring up something for the legislature, but it was too fast. I didn't get my hand up. Can I express something with Mrs. Kitagawa's?
Oh, yes.
question?
Yeah. You can go ahead and,
Okay,
brother, you can email that to me and then I can forward that over to, rep's office.
Yeah, this is there's an education briefing tomorrow about the school buses. So it's gonna be at 3 o'clock in room 309 at the state capitol. So if you folks want to get more information, reach out to Representative Kitagawa about the YouTube link or whatever.
Okay. Appreciate it, Donald. Thank you. Okay, thanks. Thanks, Chancellor. Nothing else for you tonight. Thanks for your time. Okay, moving on to Kahalu'u Bay Regional Council, we have Uncle Cliff. Anything to report?
Yeah, we had a short meeting last night, and then pretty good news. The Marine Base coral is looking good, get progress, and then another one is Kamaina kids will be out in Ria. Maybe out, Ghana. Goodbye.
Out from Heiakea,
Yeah, they'll be out of here.
the state park.
State park.
Yeah. Yolo
So
Heiakea.
right now they're not in a rush or looking for somebody. So I think you still can rent the place. I think now would be a little more open.
Yep. Excited to see what comes of that. Thanks for your report, Uncle Cliff. Any questions from members in person or online? No. Any community members? Okay, moving on. We have the U.S. Congress Representative Joe Takuta's office. Anyone from Rep Takuta's office? Chelsea?
Hi, sorry, I'm from Councilmember Matt Wire's office. I don't want to speak out of turn, so excuse me.
I'm sorry. Actually, I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. Do we have anyone from Rep Takuta's office online tonight? Okay. Nothing from Rep Takuta's office, but congratulations on the win. And to all other candidates that ran in this initial primary election. We also have Auntie Christy from Connie Marine Corps.
Good evening, Christy Kalohiva, Marine Corps Base, Hawaii. A couple of things I wanted to share for past and some things coming up in the future. Yay, RIMPAC is POW. It should be a little less air noisy. And if there is any training that I know of that is coming up, I do keep in contact with the tower and they keep me posted of any excessive air training that will be going on. During RIMPAC, though, we did host the Kalpiko Canoe Brigada, and the first race of the day is the military race, and we had 7 partner nations participate: Chile, Micronesia, Indonesia, Mexico, Tonga, and I can't remember the other ones. And then the base put 2 crews in, the command deck, which had the CO, Chief of Staff, Sergeant Major, and some other command deck. And then, of course, my husband steered them. And then another unit. And wouldn't you know, Tonga won. Right? No surprise there. But it was really nice to see such a good turnout for the partner nations to participate in a cultural event. It was a beautiful day, well received. There was about 3,500 people who were there. It was an open base event. So it was good to have the community come on. One other thing that we're hosting at McTab at the Marine Corps base. Go ahead. In Waimanalo, the training area McTab, at the ending of August, the 31st, we'll be hosting the cross-country race, which will have high school students from both public and private. Last year, we saw approximately 1,000 students participate. So this is happening on the 31st, and it'll be open for the community if they want to come and observe. This is cross-country, so there's not a lot to see, but it is a great, safe location for the students to participate in this. Also up and coming is we got another request to have Kokolea come to Mokapu, in addition to Moko'oloe as well as He'ia. They're embarking on their statewide tour and had requested if they could come and dock at Mokapu and then do their educational component, like they've done in years past there. So, I said we will get to a yes. So we're working on that currently, and this would be during the ending part of November and beginning of December. So 3 locations on this side that they want to dock, and that's Mokapu, Moko'oloe, and He'ia. Other than that is all I have. And then, of course, for your questions that you had about the water reclamation. So there has not been any exceedance. Major Heart gives us the heads up. They have to do the public notice, and there hasn't been any for the last 4 weeks. If there is any exceedance, then they let us know. So as you guys know, Board of Water, the wastewater had a meeting in Kailua. Lisa Martin, Rep. Martin, and Senator Lee coordinated this meeting. And I was on the meeting, driving over here and listening, and they'll be sending all the notes, and the board can request. Kimiona from Waimanalo requested all those notes to be sent to the board. So this board can also request those notes and all of those, that information from the meeting tonight. And that's all I have.
Any questions or concerns? E.
Okay. Mahalo, Auntie Christy. I have a question. If there has been any updates about not using potable water at the Kipler Golf Course?
There is no updates. Nothing has changed. So still current. But I do know that there's funding, and so there's plans. But those things take time.
Mahalo, Auntie Christy. Any other questions from members online? Community members in person, online? All right, seeing none, mahalo for your time. Thank you. Okay. Moving on to community topics, we have the Kahalu'u Fish Pond Luau. This was brought up in a May agenda, but due to June recess and then deferment in July, we now have it here in August. So we did have community concern regarding the luau being currently held at the Kahalu'u Fish Pond, surrounding traffic issues and pedestrian safety. Did anyone want to go ahead and present on behalf of this?
Aloha. My name is Linda Wong. Our family has owned the fish pond for the last 50+ years. And I think there's been some misconception of what's going on there. So I'm here to just kind of explain what we've been doing. Over the last 20 years, the city has allowed us to do private receptions in our pavilion after weddings. And then they've also allowed us to do 200-person functions every month, two functions a month. But basically, over the years, we haven't done those large functions because we're concerned about traffic and maintaining a good relationship with our neighbors, especially on Lihikai and Lulani. So I went back to look and we were closed for almost 2.5 years of COVID. And what happened is our partners went under basically because all the chapels and weddings and receptions were closed. So we started again in 2022. We had 3 large receptions or 3 large functions where we could have had 24. In 2023, we had none. And this year we've booked 6 what we call large functions. And when we do have a large function, we send a notice to Andy Keith, who has been a liaison, I guess, for the Lulani neighbors, so that we notify him at least a month in advance when there's going to be a large function, because they're concerned about noise. When we first started, there was noise problems, and so we've kind of managed that. If we do have a large function, it's the cutoff, the microphones and the speakers have to be faced to the ocean, and the cutoff is 9 p.m. sharp, so that we try to minimize any concerns for the neighbors. Over the past, what happened is since COVID or prior to COVID, we were doing a lot of weddings and receptions. And for the next 2 years, they projected less than half the amount of weddings and receptions that were going to be seen from the Japanese visitors who are coming. So basically, Watabe has tried to take one of the evenings that we do a reception and try to do a 4-course sit-down Michelle's dinner, since they're affiliated with Michelle's. Maximum capacity is 30 people, but so far what they've tried to do is market it to other wedding planners, so they would do a buyout maybe of the 30 seats. And if not, it's open to the public. They've had, I think over the last month or two when they started, maybe 10, 15, 20 people. So there's no real traffic concerns, because they do have a bus that takes 25, it can carry 25 people to the fish pond and back. Basically, what the program is guests are invited to come between 5 and 5:30. They take pictures, and then at 6 o'clock, there's a sit-down dinner. And they've contracted with a company that provides 2 hula dancers that will dance in the pavilion. It's with tape music, and they have 1 guitar player. One of the guitar players is Allah, who runs the Waikani store with his mother. And the other one is Barry Kimokeo. But I guess those are the 2 that, transact. But they're trying to do a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and it ends at 7:30, 7:45. So it's not, I think the misconception was that it was one of these 100, 200 person luau's like they have, around the island. But what Watabe has tried to do is just have a small, intimate dinner with some hula dancers, 2 hula dancers. And at 7:30, they do have a fire knife dancer who goes on not more than 5 minutes. And it's all taped drumming so that we minimize the noise. And then by 7:45, it's over, and guests leave by 8. So we try not to disturb our neighbors too much. But basically, I don't know if there's any other questions. I think there was some misconception that we were running a restaurant or, a big luau facility.
Appreciate your time coming out. Ms. Wong, we do have any questions? Yeah.
Yes.
Vice Chair.
Thanks for coming out, Ms. Wong. No, I don't think there was misconceptions. I think it came up on social media and we just had no
Yeah,
information.
I know. That's the thing. When Watabe, they were inviting some people to come just to see the venue. And I don't know why they invited social media people, because they're not the ones that are drawing people.
Yeah.
What they found is that there's really been maybe 5 or 10 people because of social media. So what they've been doing is holding seminars, or not seminars, but, holding gatherings for other wedding venue, wedding planners to try and do a buyout for the dinner and, little entertainment. So fortunately, on Saturday, they had 27 people from another wedding company that came. But in the past, Watabi was one of the largest wedding venues here. And so they could do everything on their own. But because after COVID, was shut down for 2.5 years, trying to start again, and a new company, Koa Pharmaceutical, bought them out and saved them from, going under. But they don't know anything about weddings. So Watabi has to try and show that they can at least break even. So they're trying all different ways and within our confines of minimizing noise, traffic, and keeping it more of a private setting and not one of these huge things where you have buses coming and, that type of thing.
We really appreciate that. We
Yeah.
just, as younger board members, we had no information on
Right,
this. And so we
right,
just wanted
yeah.
to check in with you
Uh-huh.
folks. And then I guess somehow it came up that I guess does DPR have a parcel within your folks' area or
What's DPR?
Department of Parks and Recs?
No.
Is any
No.
portion of that city
No,
related?
it's a 42-acre private land ported fish pond. But Parks and Rec
Doesn't have any
aren't involved
affiliation.
with us. Yeah.
Mahalo. And then this is completely unrelated, but today I think there was a wedding and 2 large limos pulled out. And so they got kind of stuck in the roundabout when they
Oh,
came out. So I guess if someone can let them know how to
Oh,
maneuver that
yeah.
would be good because they were
Who's
right in the middle
responsible
of
for
that.
the roundabout?
I don't know, somebody sitting at this table. I don't know.
Oh, well, so we've tried, so what it is with the weddings, it's not too much traffic because it's either 1 or 2 limos or a little bus that brings the couples and the guests there. And then with the hula garden that they've tried, I know when I saw the social media, I go, oh my God, what are they doing, right? And because they know that our main concern is noise and traffic. So I've been monitoring that. And what's good is at 7:30, they have a fire knife dancer who does it's taped so that we can control the drums. And by 7:45, it's done. And I know with Andy Keith and the Mulani group, what we do is if there's going to be, if we have one of those big 200 people functions, we have to note if there's a lion dance or taiko drums or the Tahitian drumming. It can only last for 10 minutes and we have to notify them a month in advance so that he notifies the neighbors. Because we've tried to be good neighbors, and not cause a lot of problems. So we've been out there for the last 20, 25 years. And it was just unfortunate with COVID that we went under. And so we're just trying to start all over again. But I don't know if there's any questions or. Yes.
Uncle Ray?
Sorry. Linda, thank you so much for coming tonight. I just wanted to recognize that you've always been so available and always come and never have been afraid to talk to us and take ideas and things like that. Right. One thought that I had in terms of mitigating the noise, and I feel like I'm becoming my dad because my dad would have a company party and oftentimes we would get entertainment and the entertainment was so loud. I mean, are we having a concert or are we having a party where people can walahau and talk to each other and so forth. And so hence the creation of Kahimeniana, unamplified music.
I know that was nice.
Nonetheless, with the Bluetooth technology and so forth, perhaps you could, kind of demand that maybe your sound people or whatever could somehow work out where you had sound devices by Bluetooth on each table. And then that way you don't have to have the sound so loud, right? And then
Annie?
and then wait, one more thing. Also, that perhaps you could do the old nahi nahi style where the musicians rove around like you used to do, and you could
That's why at the the garden party, they have it taped so that, they can control the sound. And in the pavilion, at the pavilion, kind of monitor, kind of sounds, but we're always warning the wedding planners that do the big events to make sure that they have a back flap on the tent and that the speakers are facing the ocean. And at 9 o'clock sharp, they have to be off. Because I remember we had a party for my mom, and this was at the beginning, and I think the sound went off at 5:09, and Mr. Ship sent a letter to the city saying that we went over the time allotted. So we've been really careful, and we work with Andy Keith there to make sure that, if there are any complaints from Ulani neighbors, that they let us know. But I don't know if there's any other questions.
Auntie Rocky, question, concern?
No, but after the last board meeting, I passed and there was a luau. So I told my son, stop, because there's no cars behind me. And I rolled my window down and said, what's the problem? I couldn't hear nothing, but the luau was going on. But I'd like to commend Linda because, when we first started, she hired all of our kupuna from our indigenous kupuna, like Auntie Meao. She played organ for a long time.
Yeah.
And Makapakal played organ for all your weddings.
Yeah.
And I'm happy for that. And Key Project also,
We
works a lot.
still try, Kelly Kona Bishaw. I mean, they live, is one of our kahu's, and
Auntie May.
Stuart Featherend, another one. And then we also have Norma Kimokeo and her daughter playing for the weddings.
Mahalo. These are
so,
all of our
yeah.
own kupuna from our own area.
Yeah, so that's what we try to do, is try to get people from Kahalu'u and carry pastors from Kahalu'u. Yesterday, we had the kupuna. It was really nice. Key Project had asked us if we could find a date for kupuna to come out. And so we had about 30 of them came out. And I saw Edwin, he looked familiar from yesterday. He was out there, John was out there. But we had the kupuna from Key Project and had a nice time out there. So, thank you.
And John?
Can I just add in? Thanks, Linda, for coming this evening. I really appreciate it. And for yesterday, that was good fun. It was really good fun. For me, having grown up on Lulani Street, back when there were hardly any houses on Lulani Street, I think about all of the things that Kahalu'u Fish Pond has been through. And, I was up on the corner looking down at the fish pond and hygienic store and Kahalu'u Bridge and so on during the mid-60s when the flooding happened, and watched as the fish pond wall broke open, cars floating in the bay, people being rescued out of their cars by amphibious
Yeah, we went through all
military
that, right?
vehicles,
Yeah.
pulling them out with ropes. 8-bedroom house came down. It was Jerry Santos's house coming down the river with people in it. So it took a while to repair the walls and so on. So it has a really long history. The other thing that really is gratifying to see is that this kind of event, like Kupuna coming there, Key Projects summer program,
came.
I think going forward, looking at having a really robust educational plan that will constantly engage the community so that people learn about the importance of fish ponds. Probably the biggest travesty that has happened for this fish pond is Kahikiri Highway, busting through the back of the valley, all of the Hawaii systems, the water that once fed the fish pond, which is essential to create a estuarine-like brackish water environment, really got disrupted. And so, the more we can help people to understand how that works, the better. The other thing, I just want to call out Blake. Blake, if you raise your hand, Blake Komai has been managing the fish pond itself, along with 10,000 other things to do for past 20 or so years. And in that capacity, the interaction between other fish ponds, Molini Fish Pond, Waikoloto, and so on, there's a consortium of fish pond operators and so on that are helping us all to learn about how important these resources are to us. So I'd like to encourage that going forward.
Because of COVID, the only two full-time people down there are Blake and myself. So So we're starting, trying to do our best, but
Child-
whatever we can
Child
do.
labor is cheap, so bring
What?
the kids. Child labor is cheap.
Yeah. Any
Yes,
other
go, John.
questions?
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was, along with John, I was one of the owners yesterday that, went on the tour. And I was very impressed because it's sort of like hidden from the public view. And it's very secure because of the gate. And I was surprised that the chapel there was very nice. And the way that you work with your personnel, very impressive. And I think as far as the sound, which might be the main concern, I think that what John Paul was saying here, that can be controlled by using various methods with Bluetooth and everything. But I see that it's a very big plus for the community to have the road there.
Hold on, go ahead. Any other questions, concerns from members online or in person? We have a couple in the community. Alice, yeah, if you have a second to take the mic. Sorry, we gotta share.
Number one, I want to thank I'm Alice Talbot and from the community. I want to thank Linda for what she's been doing because I didn't get the memo from about I live on Lulani Street and I didn't get the memo about you having the big deals. I did notice there wasn't anything going on during COVID. So when you started up again, I had a little PTSD. You know, I thought it's going to get loud. It did not. It did not get loud. I could actually hear my television. And so I totally appreciate, I don't know what you're doing. I could hear the music, by the way. I could hear it. I mean, I could even hear it in my TV room, but it wasn't blasting me. And I noticed that visitors from the mainland think it's cool. So I just want to thank you. Andy's now got me on the list so that when you have something, I'll know. My house is directly in front of where the sound would come. My backyard's right there. So I would know. And I want you to know, I did when it started up, I went, oh my God. And it wasn't like that at all. It was very nice. So thank you.
Well, Alice. Sorry, brother. Just take the mic one fast and for the guys online.
I'm Ned Bush. I'm on Leaky Kai Drive. And would also say that Linda has been a good neighbor. We've been there 20 years. We've never had a problem in terms of noise levels. In fact, if you look at Paradise Bay and you're going to the end of Leaky Kai, I'm about 3 houses past that, facing the fish pond. Very seldom do I hear it. And, but did have a series of questions in terms of oh, by the way, also, you've got a gem in place. We've talked to him in the past. It's always been responsible. Really appreciate it. But how does parking work? How much parking do you have inside the gate? So usually then when you have an event like the 5 to 5:30, you just leave the gates open?
Sorry, can you talk into the mic so people online
Sure.
can hear you?
The question was during the, when people are first showing up, do they leave the gate open?
What happens is if we say they're expecting 15 people, some of them will come with the bus. And then the others, there'll be somebody at the gate waiting to open the gate for the other guests.
Okay. The other question, a couple other questions were, you said you're allowed 2 major events a month. And that's up to 200 people. When does it become major? At 30 people, at 50 people?
what we're thinking is when they have those large local weddings and they put a tent up on the grass, that's when we consider, and we have that many people. But for the 10, 15, 20, 30 people that are in the pavilion for a dinner, that's not, I guess, what the city consider. Yeah, good. I think the city considers majors when you have maybe 100, 200 people.
So what is the deal with the city in terms of, are you allowed unlimited number of small events, or is it set number?
No set numbers. What we were doing was doing it after, there'd be a wedding at 9 o'clock and at 10:30 to 12, I think 10:30 to 12 or 12:30, there'd be a reception. And then there'd be a 12 o'clock wedding, and at 1:30, they'd have a reception at 3:30. And then they'd have, if there was another wedding or if it was booked for a reception, maybe from 5 o'clock till 8. But we haven't, because of COVID, we're lucky if we've had a few of them, you know. So basically, we're just kind of starting all over.
So then you're not really considering luau's, weddings, they're just all events. They're not, I mean, there's nothing special about the luau in terms of it's another event.
But I think what was mistaken is the hula garden is a 4-course sit-down dinner. And then they do have 2 hula dancers and a fire night dancer. When we do our receptions right after the wedding, we have a guitarist and a ukulele player and a hula dancer that perform during the, the lunch or dinner or whatever it is. And
So as far as the city's concerned, it's just another event.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Uncle John.
Just real quick, I mean, just looking on the fish pond side, this could be a question for Blake, but what are your biggest concerns about how the fish pond operates, water issues, sediment issues, and so on? Because that's very much a community interest.
Poaching. And we can't do anything about it. And talk about the ulu. We have 2 ulu trees. And every time Blake says, oh, we can, they're getting ready, right? I said, okay, when can we pick them? They're gone,
Yeah.
And I guess he found where they come in through the bushes and he tried to block it, but I'm not sure what's going to happen. But we've never had one chance to pick the ulu.
Okay. Okay, and I kind of raised the issue about sediment and water quality and so on, because that's such a huge issue for us.
Oh, yeah. No,
Everything that's coming down from Ahuimanu, Kahalu'u, Waihe'e, and so on is also the water that feeds.
There's
into the
like
pond.
6 feet of sediment. I mean, before you hit the bottom. And that was because all the development up on the hillside, and that was before the flood control project, right? All the mud and dirt came down. So when the wall broke in 1965, or I forget when that hurricane came, when it was low tide, you could see it was just a mud flat. And you'd see batteries, all kinds of stuff in the fish pond. And then once we were able to fix the wall, we had to go through the state and landlord and federal Corps of Engineers to get the wall fixed back. But sediment is a problem, and if we would love to dredge because it's kind of muddy looking water, but I think that just thinking about the permit process and the costs is just kind of. But we did. Blake and I did go to Haleiwa Fish Pond because they were working on permits and they have a dredge. So we're trying to see what happens out there.
All right. Thanks. Thank you, Ms. Wong. I just want to, Uncle Cliff, make it quick if you can. Make it fast if you can.
Yeah, on your fish pond, I think You know that drain outside on the highway? Right by your gate? There's a drain. That goes right into your fish pond. It goes through the whole bush.
Right. If it, Uncle Cliff, we just gotta keep it related to the luau, to the topic of the luau.
No, but they was talking about the sludge in a pond. I'm pretty sure that's a.
Some of it too.
Okay. We'll be able to further, continue conversations around the fish pond with our communities. Don't worry. Appreciate your time tonight, Ms. Wong. Thank you so much for coming out and, shedding some light on, events in the community. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. One more thing for the community. Yes.
My name is Andy Keith. I'm a resident of Lulani Streets, and I wanted to add some background for the younger members of the board. So way back in 2003, when the discussion between Linda and the street began, a resident of the street who's now long passed away, Dick Ship, had a good settlement agreement between the World of Aloha, Lulani Street, and the DPP. That's the and I brought a copy of it along for that.
Excellent. Exactly.
Thank you, Mr. Keith, and thank you, Ms. Wong, for coming out tonight. Again, appreciate your time and shedding some light on these events. We really appreciate it. With no other comments or concerns from anyone online or in person, we're going to be moving on to residents' community concerns. Do we have any from any members in person? Oh, yeah. Any community members in person concerns? Just if you could come to the mic, please.
Yeah, aloha. My name is Elizabeth Lee or L. I really just very grateful for the board, neighborhood board, because I have been wanting to come to the meetings, but I just haven't been able to. It's like my karma hasn't been, at this level yet. Anyway, I'm very grateful to what you have done for our community. Before I knew about it and after but anyway. And then I just wanted to see, I don't know if this is appropriate, but I have a little announcement that's fairly personal. Again, I don't know if this is appropriate, but if it's not, you don't necessarily have to broadcast it. I have had a farm animal sanctuary that's unofficial, amateurish, because I rescued animals in another area, that Central Oahu, and it was brought to me. So eventually I had gathered some, what do you call it, feral ducks, chickens, ducks of different varieties, and peacocks, and so forth. They were doing very well, but then I had a difficult time letting the community know. Just playing phone tags and all of that, and I didn't know how to reach out to this group. Maybe I should have at that time. So, right now it has developed into a little bit like a peace institute, because it's the good karma of animal rescue that's risen to God, which means peace, right? God is peace. So I have told people that it's good for meditation, good for discussion of community well-being and so forth. It's more like a school, but then I didn't want to call it school. So I call it like a temple, but then it's not really Buddhist. It's a very difficult thing to do. Anyhow, so it's got a nickname called the Beta School, because B is my nickname, Elizabeth Bethan, right? Bell. So it's called the Beta School. Anyhow, I just wanted to let you guys know, and I can leave my phone number and so forth, and if you have questions. And also, I would like to be a volunteer for the board if there are opportunities that's suitable. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All in name.
Kalamai, Elizabeth, I have a quick question. Where is this farm is located, in Central Oahu or here in, oh, did she leave? Hi, so sorry. So your farm.
Oh, I'm so
sanctuary-
sorry. Yes, I'm at Ahui Manu Road.
Could we get the address?
Yes, of course. It is 47-641 Ahui Manu Road.
Okay, would you mind if we request to have you on the agenda next month? Would you
Oh, I
mind
would-
joining us? and
Yes,
a little
I
bit
would
of a larger
really appreciate
presentation?
this, this
Okay.
opportunity.
Thank you. So our presentations are about 7 minutes. So
Oh,
you can
okay.
just prepare whatever you want to show
Okay.
us for that.
No problem.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Oh, yeah, my telephone number. Let me just give it to you right away. It's 808-561-0201. Again, my name is Elizabeth and I nickname Mary. Call me, yeah, either. Thank you.
Auntie
I
Rocky?
just have one question for her because, I like chickens and stuff. How many, feral are you, how many, birds are you talking about? Okay.
Spoiled like rotten. They were raised when they were little tiny abandoned chicks from different mothers. They were given to me by the Hawaiian Humane Society. And I raised them, I forgot to eat, I forgot to look after myself. And they made it. They made it, but then, I can explain later what time.
Thanks.
It's very enough story.
Thanks, you guys. All right. Any other community concerns from anyone online, in person?
Marie Samudio, Kaneohe Kahalu'u Cert. I'm here for a couple of things for you. One, there is a Stop the Bleed class at the Kaneohe Senior Center on September 10th. It is a registration only, and we really are very limited at this point. It's conducted by Adventist Castle, and it's an exceptionally important learning experience in case of a severe incident that you have to deal with bleeding. So if you're interested in it, my number, you can contact me by text, 808-227-0689. And if you're interested, do it PDQ because we just had a meeting last night. It's kind of full. So Stop the Bleed on September 10th, 6:30 in the evening, 2 hours. The second thing is that back in the fall and for years, I have been approaching the board and the community about our activities of emergency response. Well, things in the past couple of months have really picked up thanks to one initiative that's through the state and the county, and that's called Serene, CERENE. The other one, which really just started, that Serene goes back about 2 years. The other one, which really just started in our area, is a thing called Vibrant Hawaii. And that comes out of the Big Island, where they have organized themselves into districts about stuff that I asked you about back in the fall, that I was calling for you to look at your districts to see what could be used as a couple of things: points of distribution for emergency supplies after an emergency, or a hub, or a resilience center. There's a whole variety of terminology that can be used that could serve your particular communities or Kahalu'u as a whole. Now, I work with Kaneohe as well. So with Kahalu'u, the only thing that we have so far that I am aware of is really focusing on key project as a hub. But as anybody that knows about this building, it is in need of shoring up. And there are a lot of opportunities for grants to shore this building up and make it a viable community resilience center. You've got everything here in Key Project that government agencies and grant groups are looking for, except the building security, but that can be addressed. I only know of one other area that's looking for, has containers that can store equipment that can be used, and that's up in Ahui Manu Road, quite a bit up the road, which is really not accessible to anybody, but it's the only place that we got space and containers. So we're looking at that as well. So if you still have ideas in your community, please let me know about it. Or yeah, because we are attending on Monday a major meeting at WCC regarding Vibrant Hawaii's efforts on the Big Island, bringing them to Ho'olapoko through support of the Castle Foundation. Okay, so we have really come a long way in trying to shore up our communities and make them more responsive and prepared for, because we're toast. I mean, everything you talk about, that fish there in a big storm. So anyway, that's coming up on Monday. So we have that, and Rainbow's going too, right? Yeah. So at least the three of us from Kahalu'u are going, and some of the members from the Kaneohe board, the Kaneohe CERT, Kaneohe KK CERT are also going. So we're pushing us along on that. Another one is a Zoom thing coming up on the 29th regarding the whole island of Oahu. So if you're interested in that, you can also contact me. Then the other thing, I don't know if you've gotten a heads up yet from the Kaneohe board, but they are really interested. They have an active resilience preparation committee, and they are looking at getting us, them, Kailua, and Waimanalo organized as a group to see how we can support each other. So if you don't hear from them, you'll be hearing from me through. Okay. So thank you.
Appreciate it. Mahalo nui. Any questions or concerns? Anyone in person?
Question.
No, thank you.
Um,
Thank you for that. So Donald, quick question.
Oh, yeah, of course. Tomorrow here from Kaneohe Neighbor Board at large. Yeah, I was at the CERT meeting last night, and we had a good discussion. I believe there was going to be some training. They're looking for volunteers to be survivors, but we can elaborate that. But it's important that we have preparedness. I have this favorite quote that I said last night at the meeting. By failing to prepare, you're preparing to fail, by Benjamin Franklin. So we need to prepare to have everything except for natural disasters, earthquakes, tsunami, wildfires, hurricanes, you name it. Especially if those who are disabled like me, I'm both. So we have to make sure that we take care of all. But thank you.
Right on. Thanks, Donald. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and read out. Ian, did you want to give the announcement? I saw your hand up earlier and your chat's out. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I had a community announcement somebody approached me about. Is now a good time? I don't want to interrupt.
Give me 1 second. Let's hold that for announcements at the end. I just want to circle back to Chelsea, and I'll apologize to her and allow her to give Rep Tokuta's
Oh,
report.
please. Yes, please
Sorry,
have Chelsea give her
Rep,
report.
Council Member Matt Wire's report. My apologies, Chelsea. So
Hi,
sorry.
yeah, no, thank you. Thank you for the time and thanks for letting me jump in here. This is I've got to admit, this is my first Kahalu'u neighborhood board. It's my second neighborhood board that I'm attending, and I'm covering for Kelly and Leitani. Excuse me, not covering, but I'll be taking over this specific neighborhood board going forward. I do have some announcements from the last neighborhood board meeting that our office did attend. So forgive me, I am sort of reading off a document here. So if you do have questions or follow up, I'm happy to take that back to the team. And let me go ahead and get my notes out. So for the first one, I've got, let's see, board member Rapun asking about OCCR position details. And here I wanted to report, I guess the discretion is up to the department. So that's just what I wanted to follow up with that specific one. There's another one regarding board member Masterson, and it was an inquiry about a public access, it was an inquiry about a general area, I think, on Johnson Road. And so I guess the specific area, just what I have to report out here, this specific area, per the Parks Department, it's privately owned. And the next closest public access is Kualoa Regional Park. And so I think from what I was relayed, the general information that you had shared with us, it was kind of giving like just a general idea of the area. So if you have very specific like tax map key numbers that you can share with us, or if you have other details like photos that you can email us, you can certainly do that. Or it was also encouraged to just contact DPP directly because they might have some better insight of the area that you might be referring to.
All right, I'll go ahead and resend you the emails with that information, and I will
Thank you.
follow VP as well. Thank you so much, Chelsea. Welcome aboard.
Thank you. Let me go ahead and put my information into the chat here. I do have another report out for I think questions that was answered from the department around SMA projects. And I think that there was some questions around how the $500,000 amount was determined. And so we did receive a response regarding this specific SMA project. And so it sounds like DPP does get a cost valuation from an impartial third-party licensed contractor or professional estimator. So I guess they do lean on a third-party organization to make that determination for the cost valuation. And I think in regards to this specific parcel or this specific property, they went through with a third party, and then I think they also got a second quote from another third party contractor, and both of those valuations came in under the $500,000 amount. And that is what that's what I've got here in my notes just to share with the group. And then I think the follow-up question to that was, okay, well, how did DPP establish the $500,000 amount? And it sounds like DPP established that just to be consistent with what was already existing in the Hawaii Revised Statutes. Let's see, I have the numbers in front of me, but it might be best if I maybe type it up in some notes and share it with the liaison here. And that's
Awesome.
kind of all I've got here. I'm gonna send my information into the chat. Sorry, and let me stick around if there's any questions or clarification I can give. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Chelsea. Any questions from any members in person? Online? Community members? Donald, quick question?
Yeah, Chair, thank Kelsey for the report. You know, there was a bill I testified at Sioux City Council recently, Bill 44, to reduce the speed limit at schools or whatever for young kids, as well as others, from 25 to 20. Where is that bill going now? Is it going back to Transportation Committee for more discussion, hearing, and then is it what, first reading, second reading?
Oh, thank you so much for the question, Donald. I'm sorry, I don't have, let's see here. I don't have the context for that bill right now. You said Bill 44?
Yeah, it's a speed reduction to put signage to reduce from 25 to 20. I think it was introduced by Kayena and then the Santos Tang, Chair of
Oh,
Transportation. But
okay.
I think council member was in favor of this bill to reduce the speed. It's just worry about the enforcement, with our shortage of HPD, to monitor that. But I think it's a good idea.
Oh, okay. Well, neat. Thank you. And yeah, thank you for, I know you mentioned that you testified or provided your testimony when it did come up. I'll go ahead and check on the status of that bill, and I'll try to throw it into the chat here, or if you can give me your contact information, I could follow up with you tomorrow.
Okay, I'll get in touch with your office. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Donald.
Thanks, you guys. Seeing no other questions or concerns, appreciate your time, Chelsea. Thank you, and apologize for coming back to you so late. Have a great night. Moving on to, just want to confirm one more. Uncle Rick.
I forgot to mention during this mayor's portion, and I actually just found the article about it, but last night's news, there was a story about the city selling one of its mini parks, and that kind of alarmed me because I don't know, I got to get the full story on it, but we really need a park to be a park and remain a park. If they're selling it because somebody wants to keep it up and do a better job of having it a park, that's great. But if they're buying it and then having another intended use, you know, we have so little green space for people to enjoy the outdoors. When you go to Sydney, Australia, and you see these little pocket parks all over, and they're really good about their, I think I photographed a sign at one time, you know, that this, you know, these parks are for, you know, the people to enjoy, and nobody's supposed to be camping out, sleeping and all that kind of stuff. So I think we got to pay attention to that, because if we start losing these special lands, then it's really a bad trend. Mahalo.
Thanks, Uncle Rick. Appreciate that. Okay. Just moving back on, back to our agenda where we had left off. We were on residents and community concerns. Just want to make sure there's no other community concerns from anyone in person or online. Okay. Moving forward with board business. First thing we're going to address is the board recess schedule. So right now we have recess in December. This previous year we did this December and June. So I'd like to make the motion that we keep the same December and June rather than taking 3. I think for NCO, they just wanted to know what our final decision was. So any comments first? I'd like to make the motion and then, yeah, but I'd like to put it up for discussion or any concerns. Yeah. Okay. Not, I'm fine. Yeah. Okay, we'll do, okay, so the motion's been made and seconded to go ahead and do recess in December and June.
Okay, so the motion was to have the recess for June and December. All in favor, say aye. And then any, those opposed, say nay. Oh, Ken, you have a question? Oh, that's aye, okay. Okay, and then any abstention? Okay, so with that, we have all the board members voting to have the December and June as the recess. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the Wednesday, July 10, 2024 regular meeting minutes? Moved and seconded. You want to do the same? That was Uncle Rick and seconded, oh no, yeah. Moved by Uncle Dan, seconded by Uncle Rick.
Okay, all in favor for the minutes to be approved, say aye.
Aye.
And then any nays? And abstentions? Okay, with that, the minutes has been approved for July.
Thank you, Rachel. Next we have the Kahalu'u Regional Park Homeless Encampment. This was via email.
Yeah.
If Uncle Dan want to take that, yeah.
Right. I want to put it on the agenda for next time because right now there's nobody here who needs to hear what we have to say about what's happening in the park. All the police representatives and all the mayor's representatives. And by putting it at the very end of the agenda, you ensure that it's of no value to anyone. But currently there are just to make it 2 sentences, there are a number of folks who are permanently camping around the track, and they have animals, dogs, and they're unleashed. And there's, as I mentioned to the police gentleman, there are no police. And Leah, who cared for the park very nicely, is gone, and she was preventing permanent, families from moving in. So we're not talking about the group that John is talking about. We're talking about people who are very close to the Kamehameha Highway and then on the opposite side. And it's not yet a problem, believe it or not, but it will be because once you get a couple, you'll get 5, you'll get 10, and then we won't have a park. But to discuss it now is of no value. So the mayor's rep is gone, the governor's rep is gone. And so I want to put it on the agenda for next time.
Yeah. Just
In agreement with you, Uncle Dan, because it is actually a problem because one of our members was attacked by a dog just yesterday in this area. Yeah.
Uncle Rick?
Can I make an additional thing to add to that? Because I think it's something that we need to ask of all of the elected officials, and that is, what are we doing about this fentanyl and ice use? I mean, I don't hear anything, any projections or ideas or, we've got a family member who has the wherewithal to live a really wonderful life. She's a second cousin of mine. And, her brothers threw her out and she's back in jail. And, she's ended up with this, from meth and alcohol use, she's ended up with this sort of an evil look in her eye and people are quite frankly frightened about it. So, I mean, we got, something is better than nothing. And, for we that pay exorbitant cost of health insurance, you're not even assured of getting medical treatment in the hospital. You're out in the hallway for hours and hours and maybe even days. So, I mean, something's wrong with society that we allow this. Oh.
Mahalo nui. So, John?
Under this item, there's a letter of advice. What is that?
If, yeah.
Basically for the first 5 mayors that I worked for, the neighborhood board's function was to pass information back to the administration so they knew how to fix problems. The current administration has reversed that process. So they just process the garbage and put it out. So all we're getting is information about the great things that are happening in the city administration, which is just fine, but it's absolutely backwards of many of the 6 of us who remember from the time of Frank Fossey what the mayor's neighborhood board was for. Right. And so it's our job as board members not to quit, but to say, hey, look, we're here to help the city look at problems and fix them. And when the representatives are not here in person and when we get information in the chat that we can't read, it just makes the whole process break down. And many of us are veterans of having state and city council representatives along with federal representatives from the military base sit together and actually solve problems right in front of us. And that's all gone now. Basically, we're just processing information. That's the business of this administration, how to get information out to us and how to let us know when things are getting fixed. So it's kind of reversed. And I think 6 of us, a few of us have been here more than 30 years, remember the various mayors and how the board really functioned well. And as it's going now, I'm not quite sure why we're sitting here.
Yeah. Yeah. On that note there, on that note, because everybody depending on Zoom, that's the biggest problem. You got to get them in person, but you won't have people say, I cannot come. But you can stay home. I can watch you. Oh, you're going to eat now.
Yeah, in person is
in person. That's
first.
I'd rather go in person than Zoom because a lot of them, like you said, I want to see you. I want to talk to you. I don't want to talk.
That's the nature of Robert's rules. The whole idea is in a Robert's rules meeting, you're looking at people face to face and the discussion takes place.
Yeah, done.
When we're looking for a much deeper conversation about a situation, we know who we're looking for. In this instance, we're not looking for the mayor's rep. We're looking for the head of the department. And that's what we need right now. I think it's Kahalu'u Regional Park. We had a Kahalu'u Regional Park advisory task force. We had a plan that went through, and we need Laura Thielen herself to come out to a neighborhood board meeting. And maybe the board meeting's only agenda item is Kahalu'u Regional Park or parks, because we've got some pretty major parks. From this one, the Parks Department basically is in control of Heiakea, Mount Kauai, which is a formerly used defense site now. We need to address Makai side of Waiahole, Uolo, 500 acres in Waikani. We need Laura Thielen herself to come. So that should be our request to the mayor's rep is, can you bring Laura Thielen home and whomever she feels is appropriate to be able to answer all the questions about the plans for the status of all of our parks, because they're pretty special areas. Every single one of those areas that I've mentioned are areas that we fought to keep from being developed. And we can make a list of that. But let's take one whole neighborhood board meeting and call for a kind of a town hall thing.
While we're
Uncle Rick? No, Uncle Rick, go ahead.
while we're airing the laundry list, it seems to me that the biggest challenge that the city faces is that can't fire anybody. I mean, there's a refuse driver that comes up our street, and he came up last Wednesday to pick up the green waste, and there's one chronic neighbor down the road from us that just keeps putting the green waste out and not putting in. And so I go try and stuff it in all the empty bins so that it gets out of there, because then it won't encourage others to dump in that area. And the guy just flat out didn't pick up the bin because you couldn't put the cover over it. So I called my friend Chris Gourlay, who runs the refuse department, and apparently this guy is just, the guys that come to pick up the trash in our area come from Kahalu'u, and this guy has just been a chronic problem. They just no end of complaints. Anyway, I think the unions have gone too far the other way, and if we can say, hey, you know what, if you're not doing your job, you're fine. So anyway, I think that would solve a lot of issues with parks maintenance and all sorts of things. Mahalo.
Okay, appreciate it. Okay, Kahalu'u Regional Park homeless encampment. Uncle Dan, if you can give me a draft of that, up for the letter of advice. Did you want to work on the draft of that, or did you want me to do that, or did you want
I
that?
think it speaks to the problem of not having a secretary.
Yeah.
Normally at a meeting, it should take 30 seconds for the board to say, we need to let the parks director know in a one sentence letter that there's a fire in the, in the men's room. I mean, it's simple. It's not a major deal, right? It isn't intended to be.
No. I just wanted to see if you wanted to put that together or not, but we can get that put together.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do it. Not a
Okay,
problem.
sure. Okay, John.
I'm going to go back to the point that I made. I think it can start the effort to really address some of these issues. Needs to go back to our two council representatives, our council elected officials, to get them to work together with the Department of Parks and Recreation and bring us, a map we can put up on a wall that maps all of the parks, the city parks in our area for a session. And we relegate one session of the neighborhood board to be just about our park resources. I started to make a little list here, but we're talking thousands of acres that we need to be paying attention to. We need to be able to see those. The community needs to be able to see those. And, the council members have, special access to department level staff to help with preparing for such a meeting.
Yeah, we'll get that. We'll loop all that in, put that in the letter of advice. We'll get that, I'll get that message and that email out to Laura Thielen. Hopefully we can also get Kirk Cottrell from state as well. We had a comment question from Jesse.
No, sorry, Chair. I was just going to say that after we draft the letter of advice, once they respond, then maybe it'd be best to call a special meeting to address the parks versus a regular board meeting.
Could you also add in the letter that all of their vacant lands that they're not paying attention to is becoming homeless camps?
I'll address that as well.
Chancellor had her hand up.
Yes. No, yeah, sorry, artist. We just wanted to take care of the members' concerns. Did you have anything you wanted to say?
I just wanted, with the discussion on Zoom, to suggest maybe we specifically invite specific officials to specific meetings. I know, like for me, I love to come in person. I love all the people sitting around the table with you, honest. But I also have Kaneohe, Waimanalo, and Kahalu'u all in the same week at night. And I'm sure some of the officials have more meetings than me. And I just cannot, I leave my house at 8 a.m. and then I'm on neighborhood boards till sometimes 10. So I think just saying, oh, could you come to the December meeting at this time for this topic would really help. That's all. Mahalo.
Yeah, quick one, Uncle Dan.
So the way it worked for Mayor Fossey and the first four mayors after him was that the mayor's rep goes to the meeting of all the department heads every week on Thursday. And the mayor's rep is also a department leader. And he reports, this is what's going on in Kahalu'u. And I don't think that's happening now. But that's a key part of how Mayor Fossey intended the neighborhood boards to work. The neighborhood rep from the mayor goes back to the Thursday staff meeting with the mayor and he says, hey, parks are getting overrun with beer cans and we have to do something about that. And everybody else hears that, all the other department heads,
and it gives them a chance to fix problems before they get to be problems. That's a certain style of government, right? That's not the kind of government we're into now. We're into, well, there's a crisis, and that's when we're going to deal with it. And before there's a crisis, if I don't know about it, it's not happening. And so this is what we have to do. We have to make sure that they know that we have a specific issue. It's not just about parks, but it's about the pier. It's about whatever it is. And we just have to turn this process around. Otherwise, again, I say it's not a fun meeting.
Well, thanks, Uncle Dan. And thanks, artist. Appreciate it. Yeah, that helps as well. You know, we'll be sure to specify to the ones that we want in person to come in person. Okay. Yes.
Managing director is a really critical position. It's like the mayor's right-hand person. Mike Formby should be one of those people.
Yeah. We'll include that as well. Okay. I'm gonna park that right there, leave that there. I know this is, I'm gonna move on. I know we're not, I don't have this agendized, but I just want to throw this out there to board members, okay? Because of recess schedule, right, really, we're taking away 2 months that we're not meeting. So that's 10 months a year that we get to meet. So it's 10 meetings. 10 meetings to solve all the issues and all the problems and all the concerns until 9:30 at night, right? So it's like, I want to break this back down and bring in committees. I want to reestablish committees. So I just want to put this out there to you guys. Start brainstorming, thinking about what you guys would like to prioritize as far as this board, as far as committees. Let me know if you would like to chair anything that you come up with. You know, send me an email. You have my email. If you don't, come get it. I will come get my phone number as well. But I want to continue to work on that with this board and, you know, address things. I do want 100% a Hawaiian Affairs Committee. If I could work with Auntie Rocky with you on that. But other things as well. Environment, natural resources, right? Even stuff like parks, right? Stuff that you feel is important, that you feel would be something appropriate to make a committee for. I was thinking I would like at least one board member on a committee, right? Just to ensure that the information from the committee is coming back to the board. So just want to put that out there. No action is needed. No comments are needed. But you know, just communicate that with me on the side, and we can go ahead and agendize anything when we want to go ahead and make a vote and make things official. Progress. Uncle Rick.
Follow mine, but you know, hopefully the the squeaky wheel gets greased. But again, you know, we were displaced out of that room 102, 103, and the sound quality is better. We've got the smart board and all of that. You know, I implore anybody to figure out how we can get that room back, please.
All right. All righty. We're gonna move to sub-district reports. Shooting off one.
No particular report. We've covered the topics I wanted to.
2, 3.
Just wanting to report that, of course, the ongoing illegal commercial businesses on Kaneohe Bay. Last night they had a Kaneohe Bay Regional Council meeting, and the harbor master asked me, been asking to ask, her boss won't give the harbor masters the availability to work on weekends, even if they alter their days. So I talked to Tanya, and Tanya said, I wish somebody would talk to our boss. So I have an appointment to meet with Megan Stats tomorrow. And I'm going to bring up this subject. And I'm going to also make that a conference meeting so the Ahamoku will be taking notes on it. Mahalo.
And I just add one thing to what you just said. Tanya actually has 2 other positions that they haven't filled. And she could use some help. So
Thank
when you
you.
meet,
I'll bring it up. to
ask
the
them
harbor.
about the positions that they have.
Got
in
it.
the org chart, the empty slots, okay? Because
Uh-huh.
we already just, sorry.
I
Nothing
have
from thought.
Thank you.
I have something to add to it.
Yoni, go ahead.
Maybe the involvement of the Mackay Watch could be something that they could potentially think about in terms of, since they won't let them, at least like letting the community groups that have been established to be more
Can I answer?
involved in and even potentially compensated for that time.
Can I reply
Yeah.
to that?
Sure.
There was a meeting last night, and actually after the meeting, I also talked to Casey Ching, who's actually working with NERPUB. We're sponsoring that. We talked about it, but she's getting married in 2 weeks, so maybe we can put them on the agenda, maybe for the next meeting after honeymoon or whatever. Mahalo.
Well, Auntie Rocky. Thanks, Keone.
Thank you.
4, that's me and Uncle Ken. I got nothing. Uncle Ken, nothing now. We are gonna be number 5. Nothing. 6, and no one's here for 6. Okay. Announcements. I'm sorry. Yeah, no announcements. Next meeting. Sorry.
I have an announcement.
Yes, go ahead.
You know, I just came from another meeting, so I forgot my phone. Somebody dropped me off, but there's going to be forum for the OHA candidates. So we're going to be sponsored by the Kahalu'u Hawaiian Civic Club and the Kahalu'u Foundation. And it's the date is September 24th. Artist is on. I don't have my phone, so I can't give you the time. And it's going to be open to the public at Winard Community College.
Mahalo.
Come meet your candidates. Mahalo.
Auntie Rocky, just as far as the Kahalu'u Civic Club, I know that you're the chair of the government relations. Would you be willing to share the priorities of the Civic Club with the board?
You know, I don't even have my list with me. I left it on in the car. But I'll bring it at the next meeting because we do have, we normally meet with the legislatures before opening of the legislature. And we bring up, we already put forth our priorities to the club.
Awesome.
Mahalo.
Yeah, the board, we'd like to support any kind of overlapping priorities that we have with the Civic Club. Go ahead, Uncle Rick.
Oh, sorry, just getting to the age where I kind of forget stuff, but wanted to mention that I had the chance to go to Lele up in Upper Wahiawa the other day to pick up a piece of equipment, and I noticed in front of Lele Hua School, they have this beautiful sign that's probably the size of that, but there's 2 of them at right angles, and I was thinking we should consider down on the highway over here before Aholelo Road, we could notice as long as DOT could provide power to it, then that sign could be used for emergency purposes, telling drivers that the road is closed down the coast because of flooding, so make a U-turn at the roundabout. A second might be that in the close proximity of Kahalu'u, you have to use Aholelo Road to go around to Wailehua Road. And I think with the graphics nowadays, it would be easily done. And then we could also notice neighborhood board meetings and all that kind of thing. So just put that out. I might try to put together something, get some costs and see what we could do. But see what you guys think about that.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Let me get something tied in with Ritza. Using that Aholelo Road for traffic bypass.
Yeah, you brought up the speeding.
It's a no. That bridge, I don't know when, I better not hold my breath. It's just a matter of time.
No,
Because that whole road, that back road, the other day, when the limousine was trying to follow me through the back road, but the sucker is too long.
And you brought up the bus last time, so we'll double dip and make sure both those issues get addressed. Okay. Any other announcements? No other announcement? Okay, I'm sorry, online. Ian, yes, go ahead with your.
From before, I put it in the chat, but I was asked to spread the word. Pu'uhonua Waikane has been working on restoring the taro fields that are down at the Makai end of Waikane Valley Road there, Mauka side of the highway. And this Sunday, they're having, August 18th, they're having a community stewardship work day co-hosted with Kale Aina Ali'i. That'll go from 9 o'clock till POW around lunchtime, and I believe some good aloha will be served for lunch. More details on Instagram at Ho'iho'i'ea. And so, but head down there on Sunday morning. We'd love to see you again any stewardship in this area would be wonderful. Thank you. If you want to come down, volunteer.
Mahalo, Ian. Donald.
Oh, yeah, Chair. I got something from Oahu Metropolitan Planning Organization this morning. They have a survey for the regional plan transportation, 2 more weeks. I don't know if you got that yet, but if you want, I can forward to you that. And our Kahalu'u Neighborhood Board meeting is tomorrow at 6:30 at Benjamin Parker Elementary School. So I encourage for you folks who come out, like Auntie Rocky, either virtually or in person. And we having somebody from the State Department of Transportation to give an update and take Q&A at our meeting. So kudos for allowing me to come to your meeting. I always come to your folks' meeting, Kailoa, Waimanalo, as well as my meeting anyway. I appreciate all you folks do it. You too, Chair. Thank you.
I appreciate you, Donald. Appreciate your participation and your representation for Kahalu'u's board. With no other announcements, we're going to be doing next meeting. It'll be September 11th, Wednesday, 2024, 6 p.m. here at Key Project. Thank you very much. Have a great night. Meeting adjourned.
Aloha.